folks, welcome to my channel. I'm the Lone Adventurer, and today I'm going to be starting a playthrough of a gamebook. Now, I haven't done a lot of playthroughs of gamebooks. I didn't really think there was going to be a lot of interest in watching someone play through a gamebook, and admittedly the only gamebook playthrough that I've done so far, which was for the fighting fantasy game Talisman of Death, the videos didn't get a whole lot of views, but the people who did watch it seemed to really enjoy it. So I thought I would push on and use making some videos as an excuse to finally play through this game, which I have had kicking around for the best part of a year, I suppose. This book, as you can see, is pretty hefty. It has more than 500 pages, somewhere in the region of 800 entries, turned to entry 632, that sort of thing. So it's a fairly substantial proposition. It's a book by a guy called David Konkol. Now, I'm not sure if he's made any other choose your own adventure style game books. Certainly on Amazon, this is the only one he has listed. He's got a couple of fantasy fiction novels, I think they are, but this is the only game book. It was kickstarted quite a few years ago. I think it might have been 2015, and there's hints in the instructions that maybe it was intended to be part of a series, but I don't think it is. I don't think it made it past this first book. Having said all that, I'm still curious to see what adventures lie in here and to share this playthrough with you. Now, I've got a character sheet here, and I've already filled it out because it didn't require much in the way of decision making. I had to pick a name. My name is Erid Forsaken. All the character that you create for this game is, I guess you would say, an entry-level character. You're not playing as a wizard or a warrior. You're playing as a sort of a regular village person. And so I've selected my profession to be that of a beggar. You always start with 8 HP, and that is also the maximum that you can get in the game. I don't think I've got a shield. My attack values always start at 0. Armour class starts at 0. You start with a quarterstaff, which does 3 points of damage when you successfully hit. You start with 0 coins, 10 bandages, which allow you to heal 1 HP each. Everyone starts with 1 ration, and then, let me show you. So you start with 1 ration, and then you roll twice on this random table to get some additional items that you start with. I got 2 additional rations and 3 torches, so a nice light source. And each of these fills up 1 item in the backpack. So my 3 rations took up my first 3 items, 3 spaces, and my 3 torches took up my next 3 spaces. The basic backpack that you start with only contains room for 6 items, so my backpack is full of rations and torches, and you only get to carry a few things. So I guess if I come across something handy that I want to keep hold of before I've used my rations or my torches, I might have to use those in the moment or get rid of them in order to take something else with me. Now, I couldn't find any reference in the rules to these stats here, which I'm guessing to be strength, intelligence, wisdom, dexterity, constitution and charisma. I think that would be a fair guess. And I can't, like I said, I can't find any reference to those beyond this bit here, which is called bonuses. You can acquire various bonuses while playing the game, but you start with none. So I think those must be the bonuses. Now, the rules for fighting, I have to admit, when I was reading them, my eyes glazed over a little bit yesterday evening. They're not laid out in the best possible way. Maybe once I'm in a fight and I refer back to them, they will seem a little bit more logical. So I don't think there's much else to do beyond getting started and seeing where this adventure takes us. So let's do that, shall we? I'm going to read the background information and then we'll crack on. 2 land masses make up what is known as the Merklands, the larger western continent and the smaller eastern continent, divided by the great inner sea. On the eastern island lies the broken kingdom of Middenland. Once a proud, prosperous kingdom, it now lies shattered, reduced to a number of city-states led by powerful robber barons. What is fact and rumour about these barons is difficult to determine. It's true that they tax the people heavily, to the point of starvation, and it is also known that any who even speak of rebellion are brought up on charges of heresy. What happens to those people is where the rumours begin. Are they forced into labour camps? Conscripted into the military? Some even whisper that some are sacrificed to beings of such evil it would drive you mad to even mention their names. On the outskirts of one of these city-states, named the Barony of Genea, lays the village of Argax. Argax is a perfectly ordinary and unremarkable little town that would be forgotten by almost everyone, if not for the fact that it is one of the closest pockets of civilization to the Castle of Blackwood Moors. The castle's original name is long forgotten, and the locals tell many stories about where it came from. Tales claim it was built in a time when gods walked the earth, a race of ancients who could command fire and metal as easily as the people of today can talk. Other stories say it was built by elves or dwarves, since they were both once known to reside in the area, but have since fled for mysterious reasons. One point all the tales agree on is the vast treasure supposedly hidden there. Many adventurers have tried their luck plumbing the depths of the castle, but the few that do return are raving mad lunatics, and in no condition to relay anything they saw or heard on their journey. You are the latest of these adventurers. You plan to brave the castle and return with your wits still intact. With one last check of your equipment and a wave goodbye to the people of Argax, you unfurl your map and head off toward the Blackwoods. The local hero. You are a local hero in Argax. No one outside of your home village has ever heard of you, but you're well loved at home, since you do many things to help the people of the small hamlet. You can usually be found helping with the rowdies at the local pub, or keeping a watchful eye on unruly traders that come through town. And until now, you've been content just to help out the people of the town. They've started looking up to you. This all changed 2 days ago. You were walking down the road back to Argax from one of the outlying farms with some goods for the innkeeper when you were waylaid by bandits. Using just your determination and things you were carrying as an improvised weapon, you managed to slay one and send the other running off into the woods. As your neighbours heaped praise on you for your victory, a thought entered your mind. You are resilient, and you believe you are tough. The Blackwood Castle should be easy pickings for someone of your abilities. A little bit cocky if you ask me. The bit of coin you've saved over the years, plus what you took from the dead bandit, is enough to get you a quarterstaff, a small leather backpack, and a wheel of fresh cheese from the merchants in town. Though some of the townsfolk beg you not to go, you sling your new backpack over your shoulder and head off in the direction of the castle, ready to make your fortune. Okay, we've got a little final instruction here before we start. Remember, you are not sure what to expect at the castle. Your friends and neighbours tell many stories and tales about dangers at the old ruins, and you've been hearing them since you were old enough to walk. Adventurers of all types have gone to the ruins this spring, including a tall, thin woman with glasses who was motherly and kind to all she met. A lean man in grey leather who did not talk to you no matter how much you pestered him. A man in blue robes wearing thick gloves who had an intense stare but always seemed lost in thought. A knight in gleaming silver armour along with his squire, who told you many stories of bravery and constantly encouraged you to follow your heart's desires. An Amazon wielding a wicked trident who was friendly but spoke little. A short mousy girl who constantly looked over her shoulder, and a crooked man in plain black robes who was nice to you despite his outward appearance. None of them have ever returned, but that does not deter you. I feel like it should deter us. Make notes during your adventure, for they will be of great help in your future travels and quests. Also, don't forget to check the map to get to the castle and fill in the details whenever possible. So I guess part of the adventure is getting to the castle. So these are all the adventurers who we just listed out, who I guess are still there. Maybe we'll find some of them. You arise from your hovel on the outskirts of Argax just as the sun is coming over the horizon. Brushing away the strands of hay that stuck to you while you slept, you head to the larder to grab yourself a bite to eat before your long journey. This morning you're happier than you have been in quite some time. You feel you are living the dream you always wanted, a life of heroism and defeating bandits. You know that whatever the ruined castle throws your way, you are certain to defeat it. Soon you are on the road heading north out of the village, feeling the eyes of your fellow townsfolk watching you pass by. Most of them wave at you, and sometimes you can hear them whispering to each other. Folks have been talking about you since you declared your intention to head to the old castle, and word spreads quickly in a small town. By the time you reach the edge of the village, a small group of children are following some distance behind you. Before you reach the outlying farms, however, parents have come and pulled all of your entourage away, leaving you to cross the outer boundaries of your hamlet alone. Turning around and looking at your village of Argax one last time, you make one more check of your gear. With a twinge of sadness, you start moving again, preparing for the long walk to the edge of the Blackwood Moors, where the ruins of the castle stand. As you round the north edge of the lake and begin your trek along the eastern edge, you see the northern edge of the Black Wood. The odd name of the forest is due to the strange dark tint common to all plant life within its borders, as if some mad god with a giant paintbrush had covered the land in a thin wash of ink. Every leaf on every tree, every blade of grass, and every straggled weed suffers from this odd discoloration. The animals behave as normal, the plants are not poisonous or dangerous in any way, and the fruit is still edible and tasty. Some say any of the firewood taken from Blackwood has a foul smell when burnt, But not everyone smells this. Nevertheless, because of this rumour and the generally discomforting appearance of the place, most people from the surrounding villages do not use the wood or eat anything from the Blackwood, and shun those who live in the southern edge of the forest. A few hours after you enter the Blackwood, the sun begins to dip behind the trees, and while you are not as superstitious as most about the forest, you would still like to reach Tiff's Meadow before nightfall. The meadow is an open place along the northeasternmost tip of the lake, and the only place known in the entire Blackwood that does not have the dark taint. There is an ancient willow tree there near the lake shore, and the village children, and even a number of the adults, come there to rest and relax for the sense of tranquility it brings. It is also very close to the object of your quest. Just as the sun slips below the horizon and you are engulfed by the shadows of the forest, you sigh in relief as you see the gnarled trunk of the ancient willow tree emerge at the edge of the gathering gloom. Settling down before your fire after making camp, your thoughts again turn to the castle. The slumbering behemoth lies just a few hours' walk from where you lie, and you will be walking directly into its maw at sunrise tomorrow. You try not to think about how many other adventurers it has claimed. This is your last conscious thought in your mind as you drift off to sleep. You head out early the next morning, determined to reach the castle by the hour of terce. After an hour of your brisk pace, the ground goes from solid to spongy, and your footsteps soon fills in with water as soon as you lift your foot. Gloomy fog swirls around you, and for the first time you wonder if you made the right choice in coming here. It is at least another hour trek through the low visibility fens before you see the outline of your destination. Like a black monolith, it slowly forms out of the mists as you draw nearer. Some of the towers are leaning and even crumbling in spots, but the castle is still generally intact. Crossing the last remaining space between you and the earthen ramp leading up to the gates, you spot some kind of black shape lying on the side of the path ahead of you. In the mist, it's difficult to make out the details. And here's our first option. Do I want to approach the black shape? Turn to entry 268. Take a wide detour around the shape, continuing to the gate. Or if I have the skill of perception or hunting, turn to page 42. I forgot to say that I could optionally pick a single skill when I was creating my character, and I went for the slightly unexciting skill of being healthy, which gives me +1 HP for each non-combat passage that I read. I thought that would be quite valuable, but it probably means I'm going to miss out on lots of situations like this where you can do something if you've got a more interesting skill like perception or hunting. I think I'm going to have a look at the shape. Might be the last thing that I do, but that's what I'm going to do. Turn to entry 268. The fate of the silent adventurer you met in Algaz. So we've already found one of those adventurers from the picture at the start. There was that. There we go. So who is it? One of them. Is it that guy? Anyway. As soon as you take a few steps nearer to the shape, the first thing you notice is the smell of death, followed closely by the soft sound of the buzzing flies. The smell is so bad it makes your stomach heave a bit, and you have to cover your mouth to suppress your gag reflex. Now that you are only a few feet away, a cloud of flies rises up from the black mass, revealing the body of what you think was once a tall, thin human male. dressed in the remains of grey leather armour. I wonder what happened to him. Most of his face is bloated and crawling with maggots, but you recognise him as one of the heroes who came through Argax a few weeks prior. You see his skull is smashed, and the way he is lying suggests he fell from a great height. You assume it was the top of the wall of the castle, but why would he be climbing up there, and what made him fall? Surely he didn't jump. The stench is so bad that you are physically shaken. The next time you are in combat, your attack value will be reduced by 1 for the entire combat. Once this combat is over, this penalty will go away. And I'm guessing attack value can go less than 0. Can it go less than 0? I don't know. Let's just make a note down here and worry about it later. So -1 AV. As you are standing over the broken form, you see the glint of something half buried in the grass and muck. When you pick it up and wipe it off with the hand that is not covering your mouth, you find a silver cloak brooch in the shape of a skull. It looks valuable, so you take it with your free hand and place it in your pocket. You move away from the grisly form, hoping you do not meet with the same fate. Okay, so I'm going to mark the silver cloak brooch in the shape of a skull as a special item. Doesn't say exactly what I should write, but okay. Continue your way up to the castle. Turn to 304. As you approach the castle itself, you see that it is built of large, dark grey stone. It once must have been a true marvel to behold, but now it is eerie and silent. The relic of a time long past, it fell to unknown conquerors generations before you were born. No one alive now knows how or by whom it was conquered, or even who it was last inhabited by, never mind how it fell to ruin. Now large chunks of stone from the crumbling wall lie strewn about like the broken teeth of a long-dead giant. The gatehouse actually leans a bit to the right, so while the gate is all the way down, there is a spot on the left where the great portcullis does not reach all the way to the ground. Okay, I think I understand. So the gatehouse has leaned to the side, and that has raised the portcullis up a little at one side. Examining the gap, you believe you could slip underneath it, but lying prone on your stomach, to slip under the gate in such an obviously dangerous place gives you cause for alarm. Looking about further, you notice that the walls are sporadically covered in vines and creepers of all sorts. They cover most of the walls and towers, and would provide ideal handholds for climbing up and over the wall. Alright, I don't have the hunting skill, so I'm not going to turn to page 127. So my options are to get on my stomach and try and wiggle my way under the twisted gate, or to walk over to the vines and attempt to climb over the wall. I think I'm going to go for the vines on this occasion. We will have a go at climbing the vines. So we're going to turn to 275. Oh, which is the other way. I was looking at the page number. Okay, 275. You step through the wet grass to the great obstacle before you. Even though it is crumbling away in many places, the wall itself must be at least 25 feet tall, and is covered in some type of vine that you have never seen before. Having climbed many trees back home in your youth, You wipe the dampness from your hands and prepare to climb the vines and make your way into the castle. Stepping up to the vines, you grab hold of them tightly and tug on them a bit to make sure they will not come loose as you climb. Certainly they are attached firmly. You begin the long climb up the wall. You are about halfway to the top when suddenly one of the vines comes alive and whips around your arm. Barbs dig under your skin and your arm burns with pain. Take 1 hit point of damage. Never trust a vine. More of the vines are wriggling to life. Will I try to fight the vines? Only if you have a weapon that can be used in one hand. I don't really know how I would know if my quarterstaff is one-handed or two-handed. Yep, I don't remember seeing any mention of whether my quarterstaff was one-handed or two-handed. It's tempting to say that a quarterstaff would require 2 hands, but it seems a little unfair to put me in the first fight with the only weapon I've been provided and not tell me if it's one-handed or two-handed. So I'm going to assume I can use my quarterstaff. Or I could jump from the wall, hoping the ground will somehow cushion my fall. I think I need to fight the vines, so I'm going to fight the vines. Turn to page 221. Not page. I keep doing this. Entry 221. Try as you may, for every vine you slice off, 2 others replace it. Soon the vines are entwined about you, pushing their venom and enzymes into your body. Wrapped in the vines like a fly in a spider web, you are helpless to stop them from digesting you alive. Your death is slow and painful. A few hours later, the vines release your body and your corpse drops to the ground beside the mysterious black shape you passed on the way to the castle. The blood from both of your decaying forms have become food for the horrendous death vines. The end. Wow. So it's going to be like that, is it? Castle of the Blackwood Moors. There you go. So that was the end of Erid Forsaken. I didn't really expect it to be quite that brutal. Alright, so I guess what we will do is learn from that experience and come back with a new adventurer who's probably going to look remarkably like the old adventurer, but because I don't see any real reason to change any of this stuff, so I'll probably just change the name, and we'll skip the intro passages, and we'll get straight into it, and hopefully get a little bit closer to getting into the Castle of the Blackwood Moors, and maybe finding out a little bit more about what this book holds. Thank you very much for watching if you made it this far. Do tune in for the next part in the Castle of Blackwood Moors playthrough. If you enjoyed this adventure and want to see more just like it, please do subscribe to my channel and hit the bell and notification icon so you see when I release new videos, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye for now.